Hey, g'day guys, it's Simon and Heath from You&Me Personalised Property Services. We thought we would jump out of the office environment and brave the terrible conditions that we are faced with here in Perth in the middle of winter. We wanted to get out and about and talk to you about some of the recent wins we've had with our clients. Heath, you've had a really interesting one just recently. The client's brief was very challenging. It involved time constraints. It involved multiple purchases. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that and how you were able to overcome everything and ultimately get the win for our clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi guys. So we had a client, Anurad and Priya, and the brief basically went, they wanted a two-part series. Did we get a development block or did we get a simple established house? And it come down to, we were looking at some development blocks. We found it, a couple there, but it was in some lower socioeconomic areas. The reason for that is because we had a restraint on the budget. So the client's figure was $450,000.
Yep, for each purchase?
For each purchase,
yep.
There was two purchases.
Yep.
The client's brief was $450,000. The initial brief was, should we get a development block?
Yep.
And after some quick research on our behalf, we gave some properties and showed some properties, and it just didn't fit their needs or wants.
Well, the brief for us, they wanted to be able to get a development block where they could keep the existing home and subdivide the back. Now, based on the 450, we found them those properties.
Correct.
But they were like, when they saw the condition, I guess, and the work that was required, it was
yep.
different than what they had in their mind.
Yeah.
So then we had to revisit the brief
yep.
and sort of present some different options for them.
Correct.
And sort of what do you come up with from that?
Yeah, so then what we tried to do, obviously we knew they wanted two properties. So what we tried to do was split either a north and a south property just to diversify the holding, really.
And when you're talking about north and south, what areas north?
Sorry, north and south of the river in Perth.
Yep.
So what we ended up doing, we provided some options north, we provided some options south. The other restraint we had was the pre-approval was running out on the bank. The other one, they were going overseas. The next one, we had 3 weeks to find them this properties.
Two properties in 3 weeks. Clients are overseas and pre-approval's running out.
Correct. So
yeah.
the odds,
no problem.
Yeah,
no problem.
The odds are against us, but you know what? We rolled up our sleeves, bit of persistence, and we got there in the end. What we ended up doing was finding a 586 square metre block of land in Port Kennedy with a 4x2 house on top, internal space of about 194 square metres.
Yep. How much was that purchase price?
Yep, the purchase price we ended up getting for $450,000.
Okay, yep. So bang on where it needed to be.
Yep. So what we were doing is we were actually going through. We looked at a couple. We were juggling the idea: do we go $440,000? Do we do this? Do we do that? We actually missed out on one by a couple of $1,000s. We went to the client and said, listen guys, this is where the property sits. It has to be $450, else we're going to miss out, and we're going to continue to miss out for under $10,000.
Yeah. So what you're saying there is there were multiple offers on the property.
Correct.
We felt that most of those offers, based on your experience and leverage and negotiations I guess you'd had with the agent, that there were probably 2 other offers sitting around 440, 445,
mm-hmm.
somewhere around there.
Yep.
And you felt that if we went to 450, it was going to be enough to secure the property for the clients.
Yep.
and get them in without paying too much.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I went to the agent. I've dealt with him a couple of times before, yeah. And he told me openly that they'd already knocked back a couple of offers in the 440s.
Yeah.
He didn't tell me where, but that, again, we talked leverage, and their leverage was that we can't be in the 440s, so we put in a 450.
Yeah, and that was good enough to get the deal. And then what about the rent return on that one?
Yeah, so we got a rent return. We got our property manager to do up an external rent estimation.
Yep.
And that was $520 to $550.
Yep. Okay.
So we've just paid a $450,000 house,
yep.
getting a rent return of between $520 and $550,
yep.
which without the maths off the top of my head is around about the 6% mark.
Yeah, and again, look, for everyone watching, you know, Perth is the highest yielding major capital city in Australia right now. The average is around 4.4%. We're consistently getting our clients between 5.5% and 6%, and we're able to do that based on our networks and our time in the game, 40 years combined practical experience. So how did the clients feel like that? Because the other element was they were overseas.
Yeah. So obviously nerve-wracking.
Yep.
On the phone, on the blower every single day.
Yep.
And we were up around about 10 o'clock most nights having a chat to them from overseas,
Yep.
just to make sure the deal was running smoothly and they were happy the whole process.
Yep.
So
kept up to date. You were
Yeah.
able to take away the stress from them.
Absolutely.
Because they were able to talk to you late at night.
Yep.
Again, just one of the benefits of being able to deal with both, if not one of or both of the co-founders of our business. We're always there for our clients. We only work with 50 clients a year, and we try to work around them to be able to give them the support that they need. And that's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll go into the second property.
Yep.
The first property's 45 minutes out of Perth. We quickly found that
Coastal suburb.
Coastal suburb,
Yep.
absolutely. And we quickly found that the diversity that we wanted, they wanted closer to be closer to the city.
Yep.
For their own reasons, you know, we're not here to argue. Again, another coastal suburb,
Yep.
and again, about 20 minutes closer to the city. So you're about 15 to 20 kilometres out of the city now.
And then obviously by being closer to the city, there were some, I guess, things that they had to let go of, because Port Kennedy would have been a newer home, bigger home. But getting closer to the city, they were probably missing out on something to that same spec.
Yeah, I mean, the specs aren't going to be as good. You're halfway again to the city. So we ended up getting a 3x1.
Yes.
Very neat and tidy.
Yep.
But what we did pick up on is we got 700 square metres of land instead of the 500.
So they were land banking, they're getting a 3x1, there's things that they can add value to that home immediately if they choose, but also it could rent out well. I remember one of the concerns being, we were concerned about what their rent return was going to be by being so much closer to the city and getting that much land. But you had a win on that as well, didn't you?
Which was alleviated again by the external rent that we got, external rent estimation. We got a 475 to a 500 rent return. So we're talking around the 5% mark. It's not the 6%, and you're never going to get 6% all the time, but we're at 5%.
But again, at 5%, you're 0.6% above what the average year here in Perth is.
Yeah, I mean, 4.4% rental yield average in Perth. And for those at home that don't know what rental yield is, Simon?
Rental yield's the return of investment based on your purchase price. So if you're purchasing a property for $500,000 and you're getting $500 a week, it's
essentially 5%.
It's around 5%, and we go into all of those things when we're sitting down and doing the discovery meetings. But more or less, if you're achieving 5% plus, it's pretty much paying for your whole mortgage.
On these current interest rates.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I think we had
two really good wins.
Two really good wins, two extremely happy buyers. In fact, something you probably don't know, I was on the phone to them the other night, and they're going to come over to Perth and view the properties in about 2 to 3 weeks. So
that's amazing. And look, I mean, so just quick rundown of the clients. We had a 3-week purchasing window. Pre-approval was running out. They wanted to buy 2 properties, $450,000 each. They wanted to get a minimum 4.5% rent return. One was at 6%, one was at 5%. So we exceeded all of their expectations. And on top of that, they were doing all this from another country, time zone difference. You're talking and dealing with the clients up till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. That's what we do for all of our clients. We're always prepared to go the extra mile. Until next time, guys, as always, happy investing.